Hey, what's up guys? It's the Home Cooking Hunter and we're back on the home processing series, and today we're going to be deboning the rear quarter of a whitetail doe that we shot. So the first thing you want to look at again is good knives. What I'm going to be using today, first one is the Bubba Blade 9-inch tapered flex knife. What this is basically their version of the fillet blade, and it's really sharp, really good quality. It's you get a really high-end knife for a low-end price. So we're going to start off with this one, and what we're going to do is all of the silver skin and the sinew on this rump, we're going to be peeling it back with this blade. So let's get started. We're going to remove every bit of this, or as much as we can, before we start deboning. So what I like to do is just pull it over, get a good angle on it, and just find me a piece that I can really get under and work it back. So keep this in mind too, guys. You do not have to get every single ounce of this off, and also don't kill yourself over a little 1/16 of an inch of meat on there. Get as much of it off as you can. If you try to get every little ounce off, you're going to waste a lot of time and you're going to end up cutting yourself in the process. So don't kill yourself, get it as thin as possible and get as much off as possible. Okay, that side looks done. Now I wanted to show you some contrast here. If you want to come in real quick, you can see right here, you got the fresh meat and then you got this little thin thing here. Don't worry about this. This right here is going to cook right off on anything that you do whenever you start putting on the grill or on the stove. It'll cook right out. Don't kill yourself over that. Let's flip her to the other side. Okay, this is a good thing to show you here. See this right here, this brown meat? What this is where I had it in my K2 cooler on ice. The direct cold has got to this, and all this is just a little bit of freezer burn. Also, when you get into stuff like this right here, where you see a lot of blood and whatnot, you can wash that out, but you can also come in here and just cut it right out. See? We cut that little bit out right there. We'll just throw that in the trash can. And over here, see the difference? The brown to the good meat. And it's not like this meat is bad. It's just gonna lack in flavor. So if you're just grinding it up, don't worry about it. Leave it on there. Alright, so if you're wondering what this yellow bowl here is that just appeared, this entire bowl is going to be my grind pile. I'm going to cut this one rump up into steaks and roast for myself, and any little trimmings I get like this right here that are kind of unusable, boom, right into the grind bowl. Alright, that looks good there. That side looks done. So now we're going to start disassembling the muscle groups and deboning this from the leg itself. Where I like to start at, guys, is right here at the bottom. See this little tendon? That's the bottom of the shank meat. A good piece of meat, and you want to keep that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come right here where this fiber is, and I'm going to cut right up along this calf muscle here, all the way up until I get to about the top of this white part here. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to do the same thing. Follow it right on up. See this right here? So what we're gonna do is follow right up that leg, come all the way through. All right, now, once we get to the top of this right here, we're gonna take our knife and come all the way across. All the way around till you can feel that leg bone. All right, flip her back over. Good deal. Now we're gonna bust out my next knife. The Bubba Blade 9-inch Stiffy. It's a little bit of a stiffer blade, more of a meat processing knife by itself. I use this knife more than anything when I'm skinning and quartering my deer, even down to this deboning process. So this is my universal all-around knife, and I love this knife. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come right here, and I see this bone. This bone is where basically the poop chute was running through. Then you broke her down right there, and we'll find that bone, find the end of it, and we're just gonna cut it, well, all the way through. Draw a line all the way across. See that socket? We wanna expose that socket right there. So we'll just keep on cutting down both sides. Right here, flip it over. Continue our line across. Okay, so once we got it cut all the way through, flip it back over because it's a little easier to see. We've got our socket here down to what relatively is what I call the knee. He's got a little bend right here. So we're gonna go from point A to point B and just make one solid cut. Look at that. And what you're gonna see, you're gonna feel that bone, and we just start working her back. Just follow the bone only, right around it, both sides. Get up in there, sucker. Then you can get your fingers up there, pull it up. See, when you pick it up, gravity takes down, you can see what parts of the meat are still hanging right there, so you don't have to cut too much of it. There we go. So there's that. Now there's a lot of meat left up here. We're not gonna forget about that, but for now we're gonna concentrate on this. Okay, so now we've got this big chunk of meat. What are we gonna do with it? Well, first, let's start back with the shank that I was telling you about. Here's our shank. You can see how you can get your fingers in here and separate muscle groups. And you can see all it is some membrane holding it together. You can basically pull it out. Sometimes you may have to help it with your knife. But that's how you're gonna feel the different muscle groups. And that right there is a beautiful doe shank that we can slow cook in a crock pot, oven, or roast pan. This is gonna be delicious. Okay, next is gonna be your top round. Basically this piece right here, you can tell because it's round and it's bulbous. And what you're gonna wanna do is open this up like a book, and you can see all these fibrous materials, connective tissues. Just follow these things down and you can see the lines in the meat. And as you just touch your knife to it, these should peel back. Right there is a roast or the sirloin of the deer. I like to cut these things up into steaks or leave them whole to smoke or to make jerky out of. And sometimes I'll just throw this big chunk straight into the crock pot. All right, next, we're gonna follow it over again. Let's just go ahead and cut this round bulbous piece of meat out of here. Your top round. And there you go. This piece right here, I leave it whole. You can segment it out. You can cut it up for stew meat. I like to chop it up into little steaks and grill them, kind of like you would a mackerel. Well, I say it's kind of like mackerel. It's nothing like mackerel. It just has that shape of a mackerel steak. So then we just cut down through here. Pulling the eye of round out. You can see we went section, section, section. It's just like pulling out sections of meat. This is your eye of round. What I do with this piece here, guys, is I'll keep it for fajitas, tacos, quesadillas, stew meat. Basically, I put this in a package and I call it cut up. You can also grill that as it is, and it is delicious. Okay, our last piece of meat here. This is just another piece of roast, another piece of sirloin type meat. What you'll want to do, all this fat, you want to get that off. You want to go ahead and cut that out, because that fat is what's going to give it the nasty flavor that people complain about with wild game a lot. Fat on venison is not like fat on a cow or fat on a pig. It's a lot different, and it doesn't melt away and add flavor into it, in my experience. Also, look right here. We're going to bring back our fillet knife again. This silver skin, we want to get it gone. So I'm going to press right up against it, put my fingers into it, watch your fingers, and just cut straight down. Try to keep as much of it on there as possible. Whoops. And there you go. All right, guys, so before we go, last thing we got to do is bring this bone back over, and we need to take the rest of this meat right here off the top and put it into what I'm going to do with it. We're going to take this off, and I'm going to put it in my grind pile over here, which is looking pretty slim. But as I go along and as I do more and more venison, when I pull more meat out, this is going to build up. So all those little scraps, they all add up to something bigger. All right, so what we want to do here is I'm going to take my bigger knife. Again, I'm just going to follow it down, follow it till I hit bone. Trying to get my angles here. I'll knock the bowl off there. So we follow it down, we got some bone right here. Then we're just going to take it and cut right up this top bone here. I don't know the technical term for this, whatever this bone is called. I just know there's meat on it, and I'm getting that junk off. All right, guys, so I'm gonna take this chunk right here. I'm gonna dice it up into 1-inch squares, chunks, whatever, put it in my bowl, and then it's gonna go straight into my grinder. All right, so now all I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna pick at this till I get as much of this meat off as I can. There's no real technique to it. Just start cutting and pulling off as much as you can so you get your desired amount and you feel comfortable with what you have off of here. Last thing you can look at too is this calf muscle. This right here, you can use it, you can cut it off here, slow cook it. You can also cut it off here and use it in your grinder as well. Your grinder will take a lot of this. You want to take some of this off, but see these lines in here? That's all like tendon, the silver skin that's holding this muscle group together. But if you have a good grinder, like I do, I've got a Weston No. 8 grinder if you want to know, and that would chew this stuff up so easy. So I'm gonna take this off here, and then yeah, guys, from there we're done. We have successfully deboned the rear quarter of a whitetail doe. I hope this helped, and we'll see you next time, because I'm gonna show you guys what to do with this meat, or what I like to do with the meat before I freezer save it. We'll see you in a little bit.